Okay, welcome to the Let's Talk video series on mindfulness. My name's Paul Oakley, and I'd like to introduce you to some of the ideas around mindfulness before we move into a set of practices that hopefully give you a sense of what mindfulness is and support an introduction really to the ideas behind mindfulness. So we're going to go through a few questions, and that's partly what mindfulness is about. It's asking questions, it's having a sense of inquiry, sense of curiosity. So what is mindfulness? I think probably one of the most common views around a definition, if we have to give a definition, is something to do with awareness and attention to the present moment experience. So it's an idea, it's a practice, it's a concept, if you like, about what we might need to do to bring a greater focus to the present moment, to being here. Yeah. One of the other important aspects of mindfulness, in terms of understanding what it might be about, is this idea that we're connected, our body, our mind, and our breath. So there are various pathways, if you like, various ways of viewing or getting access to the practice of mindfulness. So we might be working on the body, we might be working on the breath, we might be working on the mind. Yeah. So all those aspects will be explored. Okay. So I mentioned the word practice already. The idea that we live in a way that we continue to repeat lots of the actions that we do is a way that we become who we are. So we repeat, we have habits, we have routines. So without practice, things don't change. Without repeating good habits, hopefully, things don't change for the positive. So with mindfulness, we're looking at activities that we repeat, techniques, processes, procedures, whatever you want to call them, that increase our awareness and our attention to the present moment, that bring us with a greater connection to the mind, the body and the breath. So hopefully that gives you just a vague introduction around how we might define or what we might see as mindfulness practice. But I want to draw your attention to these two areas, because this is more for me about the heart of what mindfulness is. So the first area, or the first idea, is about stilling the mind. So my experience is that my mind wanders. Yeah, it wanders from one aspect to another aspect. It might be thinking about what I did yesterday, what I'm doing tomorrow, and around that there'll be a whole series of emotions and judgments about what I did well, what I didn't do well, how I behaved, what I feared, what I was concerned about. And that can be quite tiring. It can be quite distressing at times. So the idea of stilling the mind, of finding the pause button, of finding a break away from all that activity, is for me one of the reasons, if you like, I would personally say why I want to do mindfulness. Yeah. The second one might be even more important, because it's about experiencing life in a more deep way, yeah, which might sound a bit trite, yeah, but what I mean by that is life is very colourful. It has highs, it has lows, it has different textures, and many things in life can be very simple and very accessible, but we don't give our full attention to those areas. We don't give our full self to those experiences. So here I'm thinking about maybe sensations. What do we see? What do we hear? What do we feel? What do we touch? What do we taste? All these experiences we often flow through very quickly without spending time and really have a deep sense of what's going on around our experiences. And we miss out on things. We miss out on a depth of ourselves. We miss out on a depth in terms of our contact with other people, with the world around us. So for me, experiencing the world more deeply is really important in terms of why I kind of bother and how I understand what mindfulness is. So, moving on. So why would we bother with doing a mindfulness practice? Well, for the Western mind, evidence and looking at things in a rational way are really important. And there is a strong evidence and research base around mindfulness, both in terms of studies of the brain and the changes to the brain, positive changes to the brain that mindfulness practices can have, but also there's evidence around the physiological, what happens to our bodies, what happens to our nervous system, and how that can change and again help us live in a more sustained way. Whether that's about finding energy or reducing stress, finding more peace or finding more a sense of joy and brightness. So there's lots of evidence around that. I'm not going to go into any of that detail now, but some people feel they really need to know that these practices are based on science. So what areas might improve in our lives? Well, these are some of the areas here that are listed here. So memory, remembering what we've done, where we are, be very clear about what we need to do in our world. Creativity, the idea of an artistic or creative self. Greater attention span, so in the world in which we live with multi-social media, our attention is often drawn to lots of different activities and lots of different connections. But often what we really need is to be able to focus and have a longer period of concentration. So this is what might help through mindfulness practice. Physical and mental well-being, or physical and mental stamina here. Again, most of us feel we need more. We need more mental focus and we need more physical wellness or health. So again, that's another area of improvement potentially through mindfulness. So that means that we can work with mindfulness practices to work on physical pain, on enhancing well-being in its general sense, feeling better about ourselves and better about others and better about the world, and helping with just deal with the everyday strains of life. Yeah, so life for everybody is a stressful, interesting, difficult, joyful experience, but for most of us there are challenges and difficulties. So this is a practice or a set of practices that can help us get to a better place with our health and well-being. So what we're going to explore over the next 3 videos is a little bit more about how we do it, how we practice. So the 3 areas we're going to focus on the next 3 videos are a focus on the breath, how we find the breath, how we relate to the breath, how we can deepen the breath and explore that in a way of giving us a greater sense of peace and a greater sense of self. The idea of a body scan, so we can reduce tensions in our body and feel more relaxed, release from pain, release from discomfort. And the third one is not always seen as an obvious area, but to be a full person and to have a sense of our deeper connection, then having a real development of our compassion, both to self and to other, are really important. So hope you'll enjoy the journey on introduction to these 3 practices. Thank you.